Hi, and thank you officially for taking your time
Yeah,
to speak to me and answer my gazillions of questions about you, your life, your art, your daily life, your process, your progress, your everything. Let me go through your art station first as like notes. So your name is Zack Retz, and you're how old, if I might ask?
29.
You're 29. And you started painting when?
Um, like I've always been interested in art and stuff. Like since I was like 4 years old, I had a sketchbook and whatever, but I never took it seriously until senior year of high school. I was doing like oil paintings and whatever. Then when I got into college, I started digital painting.
Hmm.
That's when I like really focused and was like, I'm gonna make it as an illustrator, whatever. At the time, that's what I wanted to do.
Did you go to a special college or just community normal college?
I went. There's a tech school, like an hour away from where I grew up, and they had like a little illustration program. So I went there. Um, it was not like a good art school for um, like there's no like connections or like I really like after school I felt like it was kind of like a waste. But at that time, that's when like online stuff really started taking off. Like YouTube, so many people were like teaching on YouTube, and then like schoolism
Yeah,
became a thing. So I was like, I went into and just took all the schoolism classes, and that's where I really like learned everything.
that's amazing. So you taught yourself
Yeah,
with online classes. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And you have a younger brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
His name is Ted.
At yeah,
And how old is Ted?
24.
Okay, so you have a 5-year age difference,
Mm-hmm.
but the one thing you have in common is your love for art. Both of you paint, right?
Yeah.
So how did this happen? Did you inspire him to become a painter or?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've talked to him about this because he, like, our family is like all artists and stuff, so kind of made sense that we wanted to do art.
So your parents, they were both like cheering you into becoming artists or
Uh, kind of. This is Tad's stuff, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he
So
looks so
Tad,
much
like,
like you too.
yeah, he just got long curly hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tad's fully into like the fine art world. He just does like galleries and he's just very independent and does that. He doesn't want to do entertainment or anything.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so my parents, they're both artists. My mom kind of gave up on that when she um, had me. Um, so she just became full-time mom and whatever. But then my dad, he's an art teacher right now. He teaches middle school. Um, so
So you okay. So it's in the genes and in the environment. Your love and skill for painting. It's
yeah,
beautiful. Okay, okay, okay. So both of you grew up loving art. Um, I have a question in here. What specific classes did you take? It's overwhelming the amount of courses that are present. Do you remember any of them, or do you remember maybe the disciplines that you think are the most important ones to start with?
yeah. So for me, I always wanted to be like a painter. I loved like the Viz Dev paintings that were like full of like color and storytelling and environment design and all that. So I knew that that was my focus. So I took all the classes that were in that zone. So like Nathan Fowkes on Schoolism has a bunch. Is that funny?
It's funny because my boyfriend always says, I love Nathan Fox. I learned everything I know from Nathan Fox. Nathan Fox, Nathan Fox, Nathan Fox. Like, it's like the name that I hear every fucking day. So, guys, Nathan Fox, I'm going to like put that in caps.
Yeah, he's a great teacher. In my opinion, the best class I ever took was pictorial composition with Nathan. that's it. He just breaks it down into a simple way, and like that's when everything clicked for me. And then I started like making like better art. Dyson Robert have a class on there that's great.
Dyson,
For,
like the vacuum?
no, Dice Tsutsumi and Robert Kondo. Can't spell it, but um, if you just go to schools and you'll see it. Um, yeah, they're like, in my opinion, they're like the best in the industry. Um, so just to like see them paint and get their thought process is amazing.
How did you,
Uh,
I mean, you know that you have a very specific art style, like super, super specific. These blocks and these colors, and you introduced me to the color jitter in the first place. How did you end up painting like that? And do you find it easier to paint this way than the, let's say, more refined photorealistic way?
yeah, I think kind of early on, I was really inspired by like plein air painters and like just capturing the color, the light, like the feeling of the environment instead of rendering something like
L-
that never
like the
really interested me.
impressionist way.
Yeah, I just want to like capture the whole scene and make you feel something rather than being like, oh, look at that texture. I'm gonna like spend a day like rendering that. Like that wasn't my thing. Some I do that a lot at my job, but it's like that's the more time consuming stuff. So I feel like it's kind of less rewarding.
Liad asks if you use 3D programs to set up paintings.
Sometimes like I use Blender a little bit. I forgot what app it is on the Oculus Medium, I think. That's really easy. Like the other day I built like for a project I built like a futuristic city and it's so easy in VR to just like block it out and come up with like a full composition like that. I don't want to get too into like 3D stuff because like oh there's all this awesome stuff you can do with Blender, right? But you could like easily go down the rabbit hole and then I'm like I don't want to be a 3D artist. I want to stick to
Fuck
painting.
that.
Yeah.
I feel you. It's hard. 3D takes so much time. And if you are all about the idea, which you
Mhm.
obviously are because you don't want to you don't even want to spend the time to render unless you get paid for it. So, yeah, getting into 3D more than just for setting up and blocking in, yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Uh, Someone has asked if you worked with Alberto Mielgo, and I'm guessing you did on Spiderverse, right?
I can give like the short story behind that. So they started Spider-Man and they hired Alberto to do the full like style and just like break the typical like pipeline for animation and all that. And like he came in, he was there for like a year and a half. He had like a team and they just did incredible, inspiring, beautiful work. And then some drama went down. He talks about it on his website. You can like look it up if you want. And they it didn't work out, so they hired a new team a year and a half later, and I was part of the new team. So I came in like a couple weeks after he left.
Oh,
Um,
so okay, you missed each other.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, then they're basically like, oh, here's all this awesome stuff that we did, but now we actually have to make the movie. Um, so we like just built off of that and made it happen.
So I'm so not up to date on the making of the Spider-Verse. My add-on question to that one is once the new team was hired, did you have to keep working on the style? Like pick up the style that was already established from the first team and just building on top of it? Or let's say were you the key figure that would say or that would decide, okay, we're gonna go with a different route with a different style?
Um, the Alberto stuff looked definitely looked different. Um, in my opinion, that was like just super beautiful. It was amazing, and that involved like a lot of 2D painting and stuff. Um, and Sony really didn't want to. They wanted to use more 3D so they could reuse more assets and things like that. Um, so we had to try to keep as much as we could from what Alberto did, but then do it more, I guess, realistically in this short deadline. Because doing it his way probably would have taken much longer. Um, I don't know if that's just what was told to me. Have you seen The Witness on
Yes,
Netflix?
I have.
Okay.
Did you work on this
So
too?
that's no, I didn't work on that one, but like that's more of like what Spider-Man used to look like.
Yeah, because Alberto coined the whole style of the witness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this, I mean, this looks gorgeous. Especially, I love these breakdowns the most. Was this dry work for you? Like, were you like, oh, gotta do orthographical subways, trains? I don't like that.
Um,
Huh?
I love doing that stuff too. For me, I just need like um I need to do a bit of both. Like I need to do like the quick fun like biz dev paintings and then like get in there and like detail stuff. I what I hate doing is if I'm on a movie and they just make me do like the detailed stuff for like months and months and months, then I'll go crazy.
Mm.
But like a few weeks of that, then a couple weeks of this, as long as I get a variety.
You don't seem to be posting any detailed stuff. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about this stuff, but it doesn't look like you rendered it for 3 months, right? So are you like not showing it on purpose so you don't get hired for that, or what's the deal?
Well, usually when I work on something, like I'm known for like the quick loose stuff, so most of the time I'm just doing that. Um, but I do have some movies I've worked on since then. I have like some more detailed stuff that I'll post.
Okay, okay. So how long does it take for you to make one of those keyframes?
Um, Usually I would do a few in a day. Um, yeah, usually you're given um like a like 2 weeks for a sequence like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then you show like a rough pass end of the first week. So I would like have everything like loosely painted in, and then like some revisions and stuff, and like tighten it up a little bit the second week.
Mm-hmm. So basically you would send them a color or mood board and then you would refine it. Do you start with a color
Yeah.
with a mood? Okay.
And part of that's already figured out with the color script, where they kind of like block out. It's kind of a collaboration of all the artists. We kind of like um, block out the whole movie with like just like color beats and stuff. So part of that is already established.
This is overwhelming. Um when you and I met, I was 19 pushing 20. You're 29 now. This was like 7 years ago. You were 22. And when you were 22, you were in this booth at, was it CTN?
So
Yeah. And that's when I bought this book. And I still have it. And I still use it as inspiration, as you know. And this work here is freaking solid. It, I mean, the style is pretty much the same that you're using in Spiderverse. Some are more refined, but the blocky style that you have in there is like you still see it in Spiderverse and in these other like Scooby Doo, for example. Like I see that you have this thing with God. Here. You like doing this a lot. Where is this? Okay.
the
See this on the
color.
stairs? Huh?
Yeah.
These handrails here?
Hmm.
And you like using the same stuff over and over again, and I saw you doing that in Scooby Doo as well. Like here you see up the handrails again.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. So do you have like a visual library of these things that you like reusing through different projects?
I think so. Like I've done like literally thousands of master copies of um, like artists like Richard Schmidt and Edgar Payne and um, like Tibor Nagi. Like those are a few of my favorites. So I pick up on these little things that they do.
And you've done those digitally, those master copies, I assume.
Yeah, I did some traditionally as well, but yeah, mostly digital because that's what I wanted. That's what you use most of the time.
And also, it
Um,
saves you a ton of money because paint is freaking expensive
yeah.
and it takes forever to dry. So, when you created this book, Seek, I hope you can still listen while you type. Was this your way of getting your foot into the door, or were you already an established artist at the time when you were 22 and published a Seek book?
No, I did that when I was still living in New York and I was trying to get a job. Um, so yeah, I was just trying like everything I could, like just posting a lot online, going to CTN and like having like a book with all my stuff. That was kind of like a strategy to be like, um, hey, I can paint, hopefully good enough to work somewhere. Um, and yeah, right when I like made that book and I met you, that's when I got like my first job. So
So, that book was your key. That was the foot in the door, wasn't it?
not necessarily the book, but all that work that I did.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
Because
of course.
I
Sorry.
mean, like posting it online,
Okay.
because that's how I got it.
Okay, so basically, these artists have proven to you that it is not really about rendering, it's more about. I mean, this. Do you see this?
Yeah,
This is freaking amazing. What is the
yeah,
rule here? What would you say? Why does this look like something? Like why can we still understand this image even though it's really unrefined somehow?
yeah. It's about like that simple silhouette, that value structure.
Hmm.
Like that's why it works. And this painting looks like it's done, and like you could like count the brushstrokes.
Yes.
Um, and that's what I love about it, and that's really inspired me to be like you. This painting is beautiful, and you can. It just gives you enough information that you can tell like what it is. It's like the impression of it, and he just puts in enough detail in a spot, so that it reads. And that's kind of like what I try to do in my stuff, um, because yeah, like when you're at a job and they tell you to design something, it's like you could spend a week designing like one idea, or you could do like a bunch of paintings every day in a looser style, and then you've tried all these different ideas, and you get to show so much more, um, to like the directors and whatever.
Okay, so you
So
would
yeah,
recommend a good practices instead of like focusing on one painting and like rendering the heck out of it, do as many as you can in a short period of time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I hate hearing this because I'm a renderer, but all right, it's still good advice. I'm not gonna argue. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Your stuff is amazing. Okay, how about we jump into like the painting sesh? Because I think I and everyone else is curious on seeing how you think when you build up a painting, what you start with, what your what your structure is, or I like calling it the formula.
mhm,
And you already picked out a reference. You modified the colors a little bit. I'm gonna make it pop up so it should be visible. Just give me a moment, guys. Okay, so now it should be visible. Zach picked the one on the left, and I picked something similar that I could find in 2 minutes in Pinterest, which is this one. I went for a similar color palette and a vehicle and a little bit of urban. So I thought it would make sense if Zach starts with his stuff and then I'm going to try to use his formula on my painting. Okay, so we have a question that actually fits in very perfectly right now. What are you thinking about when making a study? Simp IAR often thinks ends up mindlessly copying the reference.
Mm. Yeah, so when I do a study, I like to have a specific reason on why I'm doing that study, and I do that. I think about that before I start it. Um, so a lot of times when I do study, it's because I'm attracted to like the lighting, the colors. So then when I'm doing that study, I'm not just trying to copy it exactly how it is in the image. I'm thinking about like, okay, if this was real life, I was outside like observing this, like if it's like cool light affecting like warm objects, like what color would that make and how would that affect the material? And then, um, yeah, so I just think about it logically like that. So that way I retain that information. So then when I go on to doing my own stuff, um, I can call back in my memory like um, those things that I learned, like those how those colors react with each other and stuff.
So basically, you use your visual library because only
Hmm.
painters think the way you do, or 3D artists, of course. But you already have to have had like really stared at certain things like a lot and with intent and with questions at hand, like you do right now. So you basically put yourself into the environment when you start your study. So please start. Show us how you do things.
Okay. You don't own a layer. Create one. How do I create a layer?
I think it's the right top letter page button.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
I'll just get like a big.
Oh, by the way, before we start, where the heck? I need to do something before we start. Up. I need to separate our canvases. What the? I'm sorry. Okay, perfect.
Okay, which side do you want me to paint on?
You're on the right side.
Okay. Um. Okay, so if I'm gonna paint this, the first thing I'm gonna think about is there's a ton of detail in this image. There's like a truck with all this like texture and detail on it, and then there's like the background with like more cars and um, so first I want to think about how can I simplify that so that actually let me just move it up here. I need to think about this as simple as I can first. So we have the truck in the foreground. That's a dark silhouette. And as I'm doing this, I'm like squinting my eyes really hard. Um, so it forces me to really just focus on the big shapes. Design here. Just keep it really loose and sketchy. Um, I might extend my canvas a little bit.
And you already make sure that the silhouette is legible somewhat.
Yeah, because if it doesn't read as a silhouette, or if it not necessarily a silhouette, it could be any kind of lighting, but if it doesn't read at this stage, then it doesn't matter how much like rendering and color and whatever you put into it, it's just never gonna work.
And do you always start in black and white?
No, sometimes I start in just color. I like to always switch it up and try like a lot of different ways of starting. Um,
Fuck, I should do this in black and white too now. I started in color because I thought you were doing color. Ugh. Eh.
it's okay. I'm gonna switch over to color in a second. I
Okay,
just
let's
wanted,
pretend mine is color too.
yeah.
Well, don't worry if you can't watch tonight. I will upload this on YouTube. So these different things that we have here are values, right? Like everything that is in the back is brighter, everything that is in the front is darker
Yeah,
because of the atmospheric effect.
yeah. And it's important to like carve into your shapes as you're painting them. Like you don't want to just paint adding stuff. You want to like subtract as well. Um,
When you subtract, do you paint over or do you delete?
I always just paint over.
Okay.
Um, if I'm using Photoshop, I don't. I I pretty much always treat my painting as one layer. I might make a new layer and like continue painting, but it's not like I have like um, an object on a layer and I have to go back to that layer to paint that object.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I keep it organic and yeah.
Have you already painted today?
No, I've been just sitting in meetings reviewing artwork all day.
What is it? Okay, so what is it like when you're in a daily? Are they called dailies with you in like in your field?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so let's say the director, you talk to the director or do you have a supervisor of some sort?
I have both, but yeah, I've got like usually a couple meetings a week with the director to show him all the art that we've done. Um, yeah.
So the director sees your work and if he doesn't like it, or she for that matter, what does that look like? How do they talk to you? How do they communicate it? And what is your response?
Um, my director is really nice and chill. He's the same director on Spider-Man, so he knows me well. Um, and if I show him something he doesn't like, he's just like, yeah, why don't you try this? Or he gives me like another idea of something I can try. Um, so yeah, it's really chill and fun. Like we know each other. It's a great experience working with him.
Do you do you have a easier time during the pandemic, like with work and stuff, or do you find it harder?
It's definitely harder in some ways, especially trying to like manage an art team. Because it's hard to, and it's also time consuming because it's like if I want to talk to an artist, I can't just like walk over to their desk and like check out what they're doing. I have
Mm-hmm.
to like schedule a video call and like sign into a meeting and um, yeah, it's pretty annoying, but um,
So basically, you're employed. You don't freelance anymore, or am I misunderstanding here?
yeah, I'm full time.
Okay. And you have been working full time for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, the past like 5.5 years,
Yeah, because
I've
when
just
you were
been.
working on Scooby, that's when you and I knew each other. That's you were employed in a studio, but I don't remember which one. Was it Sony?
That, that was real effects.
Real Effects, right.
Yeah,
So when you did work for Sony, were you in-house?
yeah,
So you do work in-house, like no matter what company you're working for.
yeah. I mean, I also do freelance, but yeah, for like my full-time work, it's usually at the studio.
Okay, so you're adding color now,
Yeah.
and you start there with the background.
Um, yeah, I kind of start from background to foreground usually.
Hi, Alex. Good to see you. Um, Someone saying Fodil the French says Zach's face when he squeezes his eyes. Apparently, you have a painting face.
Oh yeah, I forget that I do that. My face is gonna be like old and wrinkly soon. Okay, I'll do. It's worth it for the painting.
I always tilt my head to left and right when I'm flipping it in my head. I do this a lot.
Oh yeah. Do you look at your stuff in a mirror ever?
You mean my traditional stuff?
Yeah.
Nope, because I already have my traditional stuff um, rendered out digitally. I don't just sit down and paint unless I do a real life study outside or if I do a portrait painting. But if I do a portrait painting, I kind of already sit in front of a mirror. So another mirror. I don't have another mirror, a smaller one. I should get one though.
Yeah.
So you just okay, so you just go over and paint over it. You don't do you multiply like or overlay your colors or use hue or any of the other layer modes?
Usually not. I'll do soft light sometimes can help me kind of like get some color into a grayscale sketch. Um, if I don't know, I'm not as familiar with these tools, but like if I was in Photoshop, I would just like select each value that I've painted, and then like say when I do the value sketch, and then I'm gonna go into color. I would select the light sky, so all the sky is selected, and then I use a big brush and just like paint the sky.
Uh-huh, okay. I get that. And how do you feel not painting with a color jitter tool? Because I know that you love using it.
Not painting with what?
The color jitter, like
Oh yeah. Um, I like it. Like I like doing both because like I use the color jitter as kind of a cheat to like get a more painterly effect faster.
mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of studies with just like a normal round brush where I have to be really specific and like choose the colors like I am now.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And okay, so my biggest um bane of existence is knowing where to put soft and hard edges. Now that you're doing like a round brush study, how do you emulate the idea of soft and hard edges?
hmm,
Like, do you
would-
worry about it at all?
yeah, I think I would try to get like if I want more softer edges in the background, I'm just gonna get these colors and values like closer together. Um, So maybe if I want a soft edge in the background, I can choose a color that's kind of like in between this orange and the yellow. So like from a distance, you can tell.
Aha, okay, I see.
So now that's not as sharp back there.
Aha. Okay. So you take the half point between values and hues to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. That is a formula I can remember. I have to break down everything into formulas, as you can tell. Because art is math, guys. It's math.
Oh no.
Flashbacks from school?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone?
No good at math.
I think you are. You just don't know. It's different type of math.
Art math.
How do you decide where you want to put more attention to detail?
I think about where do I want the viewer to look? Like, what's the most important part of this painting? And then I'll put like high contrast, more detail, more texture in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of judge things based on that. Like, how do I bring the viewer to look like over here as like a secondary interest and then
Mm-hmm.
over here. So then like you create um, areas of interest in your painting that lead the eye around and then like hopefully come back to the focal point again.
How do you know if people are going to follow it this way? Because if I stare at a painting for a long time, I don't even know where I look anymore or where the audience would most likely look.
Um, Usually I'll just do what I think is best just and then I'll like flip it upside down,
Mm-hmm.
like vertically and horizontally. And if it's still doing that, if it's still bringing me to the same places, then I know that it's successful.
Okay. So you just refresh your eye by flipping all the directions.
Yeah. And sometimes I like to give it like a day, um, give my eye like a break for a day. I don't look at it. Um, and then when I come back, it's like you get fresh eyes and can make better choices.
Yay.
I'm sure you do that like with traditional stuff, especially because you're like closer to it, you know.
Um, to be honest, nope. I just I sound so terrible. I just look at my reference because my reference usually is already finished, you know. I'm
Mm,
trying to just make it look like the reference, and if it doesn't look like the reference, which it usually doesn't for a long time, I just keep on polishing this turd until it looks like the reference.
you do more planning than me.
Uh, yeah, but that's because I have the time with with traditional art because that's not something. It's not time somebody pays me for, you know, where every day counts as so and so many bucks or every hour for that matter.
Hmm.
But you know, it's because oil painting is so expensive. I don't give myself the opportunity to fail
Mm,
because it takes too much time and too much money and soul out of you.
yeah,
But that's why we have digital art where we can really mess around and try things out for ourselves.
yeah,
Have you seen Jeremy Mann's work?
yeah.
What do you
Love
think about
it.
him?
Yeah, I really like it. I just looked him up to like refresh my memory. But yeah, I love his cityscapes. Those like night scenes, beautiful.
Yeah, like his reflections and everything. I really like his stuff. The way he draws women as well. So eerie and fantastic. So, did you change the size of your brush much?
Yeah, now I'm starting to like use smaller
Mm-hmm.
brushes and get some like finer detail in places.
I find myself losing myself in detail really quickly. Like, if I look at yours, like, yours is super cohesive, and mine is like all over the place, and you don't really know where to look. And ah, what? You can roast me now. This is your opportunity.
you just need to maybe simplify, pick an area to like really simplify.
Okay.
Uh, See how I'm leaving some areas just like solid chunks of like gray,
Uh-huh.
basically. You could do that in yours. Like you could take like part of this building and just simplify it, I guess. And then like put the detail like right in the car because that's where you want the viewer
To
to
look.
look.
Okay. Oh, yes. Heavy paint. Do you use heavy paint?
A little bit. I have it on my phone, and if I'm like out, I'll do like a little finger painting or something.
Okay. Nice. Because I when I did my first heavy paint painting, um,
Mhm.
I thought of you because it looks so much. It like automatically started to look like your work. And I thought maybe you had a say in the making of that software.
No, but I'm friends with Vaughn, and when he made like the color jitter, he texted me and was like, "Hey Zach, I made the Zach brush."
The Zack brush. Okay, so the guy who made the software, he texted you after he made a brush that basically makes everything look like your stuff. Well, then I wasn't even far off saying that you were in on the whole creation of the software. You had your influence.
Yeah, no, I had nothing to do with it, but like I think um like I'm kind of known for like the color jitter or
Yeah.
whatever, so he was excited to show me. That was awesome. I got to use it more. I just haven't had the time to get into it that much. But yeah, Vaughn's like a genius. He's like one of the yeah, he's like one of my favorites.
How do you
So
know him?
good.
Is he a painter?
Uh
I don't know who that is.
yeah, he's a painter. He worked on Spider-Man. He was on the original team in Spider-Man. So I heard of him, and then I met him at a convention, and I was like, "Oh, you worked on Spider-Man." We both did stuff, and um, yeah, we just kept in touch from there.
Okay.
We found like plein air painting together and stuff. So that's my 10-minute warning.
Okay. So I better finish this painting in 10 minutes and ask you the most important questions ever.
Yeah.
And now my mind is blanking. Is there something that you would like to tell the audience when it comes to, I don't know, life as an artist, or oh, now I know. How the fuck did you get all the good jobs? Like when you were 22? You emailed
Well,
people, or what was the thing? What did you
I
do?
was I was 24, um, but I painted. I did a new painting every single day, and I posted it like everywhere on social media,
Uh-huh.
in, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. ArtStation. And then if you're consistent with your artwork and you keep posting, um, and you are like connecting with people, like through your art, then you slowly like build up a following, and you start to attract different companies and like art directors, directors. Um,
So they came to you.
yeah, my first job was someone found me on ArtStation, like real
Okay.
effects.
Real effects. I know real effects.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Cool.
So yeah, I've like maintained that kind of um, mindset. Like I never want to like apply to a job or
Thank
try
you!
to.
Alex, are you listening? Do you hear this?
I'm like, I'm just gonna make the best stuff I can and then let companies come to me because then you're in control. You're like, no, if you want me, you have to pay me this much and give me this kind of contract. And they're like, oh, okay, we have to then. Um, I think that's really powerful as an artist. Um,
What is your usual go-to toolbox?
um, Usually I have like a couple of brushes that like give me some texture. Um, and then I've got like color jitter brush that I use. Um, and then I use like lassos to like kind of lasso things out,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
It's cool. Is going to an art school any important for the industry? Let me answer that. Nope.
Oh,
It's not. You just have to have a really good portfolio, and connections really do help. If you live in LA and you do what Zach has done, which is like paint every day, you're bonkers. But as I can tell, being in LA is kind of important, right?
um, like I got a job before I moved to LA. Um, it probably could have sped up my process if I was already in LA and I was meeting people. Um, but yeah, I think it's like if you can, I don't know. There's two sides to this, and you kind of know the other side, Tiana. But like I wanted to have a job before I moved out here because I couldn't afford to live there really. And LA is so big. Like if you move um, to like Burbank, um, where like all the studios, where most of the studios are, but then you get a job in like Santa Monica, and you got to drive like 2 hours to work every day. Um, like that's another thing to kind of think about because like some of the studios are spread out.
Do you move for every job?
Pretty much. I haven't moved in a few years because now I'm in Burbank and it's right next to like Disney and DreamWorks, Netflix. Like everything is
Yeah,
right
they
here.
did that kind of on purpose, didn't they? They did have in mind that all their creators are now lo local.
Yeah,
Okay, we have 4 minutes left. I don't want to monopolize your time too much. Just let's see. It's important if you want student debt. Oh my God. Your work looks fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Do you remember when we went to the diner that was so retro?
yeah, in Santa Monica. That was cool.
Does it still exist?
I'm not sure. I haven't, yeah, I haven't been in that area in a long time.
I miss diners. I miss ramen. Did you have ramen? Any
Mm,
in the past?
I've had it before. I'm not like a huge fan of soups. I know it's, everyone gives me shit for not liking like ramen and sushi, but
You don't eat
I grew
sushi?
up, yeah, I grew up in like the woods in the country. Like there's no sushi.
Bitch, please, that's not even a fucking excuse. I'm from
What?
Bosnia. We don't even do raw fish. We don't do any of that shit. You you have to develop your palate, man. Like you have to go out of your way to, take it in. Like
I know.
embrace what the world has to offer to you. You can't be that little forest kid for the rest of your life.
It's like, can.
You have to invest in those expensive soups and overpriced
Oh,
uncooked meals. You know?
no, I don't.
Yeah, obviously you don't. Well, it's never too late. I say this to my father every time I propose the sushi thing. Every time he says no, but I think one day he will say, "Ah, whatever, let's go."
Yeah.
Ah, man. You're okay. Okay, so this is the thing. You're not giving a shit type of painting looks so flawless and so perfect at the same time. And mine is like I'm trying to look like I'm not giving a shit. I'm giving too much shit, and it's obvious that I'm not good at not giving a shit. Like
What are you saying?
I'm saying that your flawless painting looks amazing in its flawlessness, and me trying to look flawless looks like a fucking failure. Like, it's
No, I
sad.
like it. I
That's why you would be a terrible. You're an art director. Is this how you speak to your people on your team? Like it looks like a turd, and then you say I like it just so you don't hurt their feelings,
uh,
or?
no, I say what's good about it, and then I say how to improve it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's how I do it.
So you sandwich the compliments and stuff. So this is the only way on how to professionally conduct yourself. I see.
Yeah, because I
Lots of
mean, people have
diplomacy.
sensitive and feelings, and I don't want
So it's
HR
still a
to yell
thing,
at me.
right? Like do you also like put your soul into your stuff? Like do you feel personal about your work?
Yeah, you can't too much, like working at a studio because you're not in that much control. Um, so you just do the best you can, and just know that if someone gives you like really bad feedback, then you just got to do it, and you can't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. But that hardly ever happens to you unless you missed the mark on what they were saying in the first place. Like it must have been a misunderstanding because I can't imagine anyone not liking your work.
There is times when it's like a producer or like someone who's got more power than you is like um, they just go with something more generic, or they don't have like an artistic eye, so they just tell you to do like really stupid things, and that happens quite a bit.
Okay, what's really stupid things? Okay, we will wrap this up. What's really stupid things that like those clients without artistic eye but way too much money say?
Okay. Say I'm designing like the main character's house, and it can be a really unique house in a really interesting environment with like maybe like waterfalls and like a cool pathway that goes to the house. Um, and you can just picture it. It's gonna look awesome, like animated. And then like the producer would be like, "Oh, that's too unique." Or it's let's go with this kind of house. They'll send a reference, and maybe it's a very generic house, or it's something like close to their own house or something.
Uh-huh.
So then you just got to go with the generic one instead of like your cool idea.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
That's because
I
they feel hurt
have
in
to,
their feelings,
yeah,
I assume.
I'm sorry. I have to
Run.
go.
Thank you
But
for
it was
your
so nice
time.
talking to you.
You too.
Yeah, I'll like text you later. Yeah. See
Yes.
ya.
Bye. I see myself big now. Oh, it's because of my Zoom thingy. End meeting for all. Okay, guys. So, Zach has just left. What have we learned? Don't be precious about your shit. I think that's what I learned. But I'm way too precious about my shit. I'm too detailed about my shit. And I think I will have to follow my boyfriend's advice and start, like, learning how to fucking paint on a time budget. Because apparently it works out for people. Mm. Gotta have a focus when making a study. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, my focus is, like, everywhere my eye lands on. That's my focus. So when I want to do the background, I fucking focus on the background. When I do the foreground, I fucking focus on the foreground. Uh, okay, well, learn how to paint on a time budget. Thank you for coming. I wished we had more time. I wanted to get into the nitty gritty next time. Bye.